slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Hey team, hope you're all doing well. Today's topic I wanted to discuss a question that was recently asked, and that is, can you get really fit in a matter of 3 weeks? So is a 3-week half marathon training plan legitimate? Can you get in race shape? Can you get to the point where you can hold your race pace in a matter of 3 weeks? The tough answer and the honest answer is not really. I think that most athletes that are training for a half marathon, just to minimize the amount of stress that you're dealing with, to minimize the rush to get in great fitness, always focus on a longer buildup. You know, if you're training for a longer race like the half marathon or marathon, 16 weeks minimum. But you know, in my opinion, if I was training for a half marathon or a marathon, which in this case I am, my long range goal, I'm looking at 5 to 6 months. Okay, in most cases, athletes that train for a longer period of time prevent the undue stress that they simply don't need by trying to rush all their fitness in a matter of, in this example, 3 weeks. 3 weeks, you're not even adapting to the workouts you're doing in a matter of 3 weeks. It takes a minimum of around 28 days for the human body to adapt to any stress load being placed on it. So athletes that are looking for a 3-week half marathon training plan, I guess in 3 weeks you can get in enough shape to start and finish a marathon without the undue, focus so much on trying to run a specific pace for the entire half marathon. I mean, yes, you can make a half marathon goal, but are you going to be fully prepared to start and race a half marathon in a matter of 3 weeks? I don't think so. I think in a lot of times athletes try to get in great anaerobic shape. They try to rush their fitness in a short block of training, and 3 weeks really is far too short for a half marathon. I know there are athletes out there that are specifically looking for 3-week half marathon training plans, and I certainly would not recommend it. I guess if you're just wanting to build, if you've spent several months, okay, like 3 to 4 months building an aerobic base, you've built a foundation of knowledge, then doing a 3-week half marathon training plan is okay, because again, you've built several months, several weeks of aerobic knowledge. You've done some strides throughout that buildup. Maybe you've done some fartlek workouts, and then you go into a 3-week specific race phase where you're focusing specifically on trying to focus on running at paces that are at or below your goal half marathon race pace during that 3-week period. And then you go into what I would recommend, a 10-day taper going into a half marathon buildup. You go into a 10-day taper where you start dropping your volume and intensity significantly 10 days out from your goal half marathon. I think in that case, a 3-week half marathon training plan would work, because again, you've built a strong foundation of knowledge, and you've done a combination of both aerobic as well as anaerobic workouts leading into that 3-week half marathon training plan. But I think if you start a 3-week half marathon training plan from the beginning and you're trying to set a new personal best, maybe that's to break 2 hours for the half marathon, or going under an hour and 30 minutes, or maybe under an hour and 10 minutes. The faster you get in this sport, the faster you're trying to race, the more that's going to be required out of you. And it's very difficult to duplicate hard efforts. The faster you run, a lot of athletes get discouraged, and a lot of times it's a lot of other factors that is causing you to not be able to perform at the level that you're aiming for in the half marathon. It could be your tempo runs are too short. Maybe you haven't spent enough time doing tempo runs, running at your anaerobic threshold, between 88 to 90% of max heart rate. If you haven't spent sufficient time practicing running at faster paces, it's not only going to be hard to start and finish a half marathon at your goal race pace, but to try to do that in a matter of 3 weeks simply is not realistic. I believe in being very honest and blunt when it comes to the videos I make. And for athletes that are trying to really get the best out of themselves, 3 weeks simply is not enough. I think if you want to set a new personal best, or maybe you've never run the half marathon, maybe you've run very well at the 5K to 10K distances, and you're planning on moving up to the longer races, go after a 20 to 24 week half marathon training plan. Okay, and there are I have 8, 12, 16, 20, and 24 week half marathon training plans on RunDreamAchieve.com. So if that's something you're interested in, there are a lot of resources on RunDreamAchieve, including ebooks that I've written and created that are on the ebook page. You can check those out. As I mentioned before, we do have training plans, running coaching, running courses if you're trying to run under 2 hours for the half marathon, or maybe if you're trying to break 2:30 for the marathon, a sub 3 hour marathon. You're trying to run under 3 hours and 30 minutes, under 4 hours, or under 5 hours for the marathon. I have created running courses specifically for athletes such as yourself that are really looking for a course that'll dig deep into the specifics of especially trying to break the 2 hour half marathon barrier. I know there are a lot of athletes out there that are trying to run 9:09 mile pace or 5:41 kilometer pace for 13.1 miles or 21.1 kilometers, and that course specifically is set up for you. But yeah, I mean, in regards to, and I've been asked this, is a 3 week half marathon training plan sufficient? Again, it really depends on the athlete, and it depends on the goals of the athlete. I think if you're an athlete that's just trying to start and finish your first half marathon, and you want to just do it for fun, and you're not really focused so much on trying to run a crazy fast half marathon time, or you're trying to, run maybe under 2 hours or an hour and 30 minutes. It could be a 3 week half marathon plan. It will definitely at least get you started. It'll at least build that aerobic fitness. And again, you can sprinkle in some anaerobic workouts, maybe some like light fartlek workouts during that 3 week half marathon training plan if that's what you want to do. But I do believe that you definitely want to go into that half marathon feeling rested instead of frustrated and tired. So if you're doing a very short 3 week half marathon training plan, just do it more for fun. Just do it for general fitness to get yourself into, like I mentioned, general fitness to start and finish a half marathon. But after you've run and after you've completed your 3 week half marathon training plan and you've competed in your half marathon, look forward to the long term, your next build up, and focus on a longer build up. Because I promise you, if you focus on a 20 to 24 week half marathon training plan versus a 3 week half marathon training plan, your chances of running significantly faster are going to be drastically heightened just because you've allotted enough time, a longer build-up to really prepare for running under your goal half marathon race pace. And again, as I mentioned, make sure you're focusing on practicing drinking in your long runs. Try to find like a 5 or 6 mile loop course. That way you can drop your water bottles out, maybe like on at mile 2 or mile 5 or mile 6 of that course, so you have a couple water station drops there so that you can practice drinking more in your long runs, so that you get used to handling how much fluid your stomach can handle during those long runs. Especially in these longer races like the half marathon or marathon, if you're not drinking enough, you're going to really screw up your time, and you're not going to perform at a level that you're focusing on. You can be in great physical shape, you can be in great mental shape, but if you don't pay attention to the fundamentals that go into running a fast half marathon, and especially your nutrition, your hydration, your caloric intake in these longer races, if you neglect that, you're going to ruin your time. So make sure you focus on doing that as well. So I hope this answers the question for athletes out there that are asking the question, is a 3 week half marathon training plan sufficient? I hope I've provided some answers to that question in this video. Feel free to leave me a comment below if you have any other questions or concerns regarding the half marathon distance, or any other distance, or any other thing that's on your mind in regards to training for your chosen event. So thank you so much for your support. If you're looking to take your racing to the next level, check out our resources on RunDreamAchieve.com, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.